Look at that. We are live. Let's see how this looks. Hello. Welcome to the stream. We are about to begin. A couple of minutes. Just trying to wait for a few minutes for people to hop in. Hanging around. I'd like to talk a little bit about content creation and some ideas that I've had this morning. This was not what was going to happen. I had to have a guest today, but plans change and we adjust, we adapt. So here we are. And we'll chat for a couple of, probably like an hour, I think less. Yeah, it's Friday stream. Friday stream, I really want to hang out with the community, hang out with you, talk about what's going on in your life, and then see how we can, talk about some things. So let me know if you're listening clearly, if you can actually hear me, because it will be weird if you see my mouth moving and I cannot see anything that's going on. So can you hear me? Does actually, let me just try here to see if the audio works. Why is this thing doing that? We'll see. Actually, what I'm going to do is try it out. Different device. Let's see if it makes a difference. Hello. Hello. Yeah, this audio sounds terrible. What's going on here? Hello. Yeah, this audio sounds terrible. What's going on? Clearly, we have an audio problem. Is my mic working? General. Just changed my settings yesterday. And this happens. Why? Hello. Yes, thank you, Lydia. Monsieur Christian Cédric. Awesome. Can you hear any music in the background? I feel like I'm trying to play this music here and it's not working out. I feel like I should just give up on this idea of playing music which I like. I actually like the music, but it's not playing. And if it's not playing, then what's the point? You know? A minute. Is this sharing? Yeah, definitely. It means it's not working. All right, let's see. Let me try. Maybe I changed. I think. Oh, yes, there's no music. Thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate that. Let me try. I mean, I was expecting this to happen somehow. I feel like, well, what's the point of paying a license to use music online if you're not going to use it, right? Hmm. Yeah, this does not work out in the next like 5 minutes. I'll just have to forget about the music because this is not. I should be able to play at this point. Let me see. Hey, hello, Gray Matters, Monsieur N. It's good to have you on the stream. Trying to figure out a way to make music play on this thing is not working out, which is mildly annoying. So it's right now what you're hearing is playing from these headphones, which is not what the plan was. Let me try changing that a little bit. Open sound settings. Let's see. Check your Windows. You can do what? Maybe the problem actually is that this thing is plugged in. So what I'm going to do here is try. Yeah, today is not the day where we do this thing. Or is it? Mute, share, invite. You know what? Forget about the music today. We're not going to play any music today because the share has decided that the music is not going to work. So, welcome to the stream. It's been what, a week since we did a stream on the channel, and a couple of things have happened since then. I thought today would be a good day to do another stream. I had to put up a flyer, actually, a poster for the conversation I was supposed to have with my friend Emmanuel Sanui. Unfortunately, we could not have that conversation today, but I thought after listening to a podcast this morning, actually it was a video conversation, I thought we could talk about the content creation dilemma. And that's what this stream is going to be about, among other things. I also do want to connect more with the community. So I feel like live streams are a better way to do that than comments. I just feel that way. I don't know if it's true or not. But today I'm happy to be here. So let me just first of all start by letting you guys know that I'm here and I see you. So Lydia, thank you for being here. I know that not scheduling a stream and just popping up and saying what I want to say sounds like I just don't care about your time, but I do a lot. And so I'm glad to be here. Monsieur Mbu is here. I love watching and reading comments from you. So today is going to be one of those days where we'll just chat and talk and see. And yeah, we have Gray Matters. Gray Matters is my buddy, Monsieur N. By the way, why haven't you put up a video? I mean, who am I even to say that to ask that question? Like, why haven't you put up a video? When have I put up a video? So, anyway, I'm looking forward to your videos, bro. I think your videos are the type of videos that we need, especially coming from creators based in Cameroon. I think we have a lot more to offer. In fact, initially, what I was thinking about for this live was the title of the live was going to be the problem with, in parentheses, Cameroonian YouTubers. Then I thought about how annoying that must be and how triggering it would be for somebody to be watching a video like, how dare you tell us what our problems are? Who do you think you are to be giving us advice on how to, I don't know, make content? And I thought, you know what? Let's just find a solution. Let's talk about solutions. Let's talk about creation, consumption. Let's talk about the whole that dilemma. And so we're going to start a live. But first, before we do that, if you're watching this, let me know in the comment section if you're listening to me clearly, if the video is clear enough, if there's any lag. And also, let me know where you're watching from, where you're tuning in from. Let's try some little experiment. I'm trying to find out where people are watching from and what they're saying. I just asked that question and 3 people left from the stream. Well, that says something. Anyway, let me know where you're watching from. If you're listening, Grandmother says, I don't mind being reminded about my problem, probably create more. Don't we all have the problem? I think it's something that I don't know if it's a problem or if it's a good thing. And I haven't done any research. Grandmother, you're actually good at. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. You're actually better at this research thing. So maybe you'll be the one to give me more information on the ratio of creators versus consumers on the internet. I think in life as a whole. Yeah, I'm just curious to know if do we have more consumer. I mean, it's almost obvious for everybody to think that we have more consumers than creators. So while I'm thinking about these ideas and thinking about what to do, yay, awesome. Masama Boriskov getting me clearly, and the video is clean too. Yeah, I worked so hard to get this clean video. I'm using my camera, the one that I used to make videos, plugged in directly to the computer, and then I'm using this mic, USB. I don't know. I'm doing a review of my gear now. I'm probably thinking of doing a review version. USB. I have a mixer that I cannot use because it only plays on one side. So it's a dual mixer. So it means if I put the mic in one, it gives only like mono sound. I've never figured out how to get it to give a stereo. So I just use one side. That's enough about the review. So the conversation today is really about that dilemma between content creation and content consumption. And what triggered the thought to make this video was a video that I watched this morning. I actually woke up early today, which is something that I try to do, but I almost always fail. But yesterday night, something weird happened. There's this new YouTuber that I found. Her name is Love Dorsey. She's very crude, very true, I guess I'll say she's blunt in her honesty about relationships, about money, about business, about things. And I'm trying now to start monitoring my thoughts around the kind of content that I consume. What kind of camera do you use? I use a M50, Canon M50. Yeah, I'm good to actually just let's do this. I mean, the whole point of being able to do stuff on the internet is that you can do that. But just before I forget, I was talking about my thoughts about how this thing came about, how this video came about. So what I'm going to do here is, and also by the way, I've actually put links to the camera that I use on here in the video. So you can check that out. I'll share my screen now and show you the specific camera that I use. I'm still waiting for you to let me know where you're watching from. I mean, I'm curious. Please feed my curiosity. All right. Let's see here. Share screen. Yep, screen has been shared. So this is the camera that I use. What's that? Well, yeah, this is the same camera that I use. Just this one is white and mine is black, but is basically the Canon M50. Pretty great entry-level camera. Lots of tutorials on the internet. I think it's one of those cameras that people like to. I mean, personally, I'm looking to buy another camera now because I don't feel like I've exhausted it, but this one is not able to do what I really wanted to do anymore. But yeah, I like it. It's a decent camera. Decent, pretty nice camera. So how did this whole live come about? I watched a video from Love Dorsey and I felt this urge that I've felt often about a lot of self-development, personal development content, but it's hard to get this urge and then act on it immediately, to the point where I had a hard time sleeping last night because I was thinking about what I was going to do this morning, which is wake up early, write down my notes for this video, and then begin my day. So I did that. Like I even have my cup of coffee, which is something that I've not been drinking coffee for a while now. And since I also do intermittent fasting, just as I'm saying these things, I feel like I sound like one of those internet people who tell you wake up at 5 a.m., drink a cup of coffee, exercise, write down your dreams and your goals, visualize the process. And as corny as those things sound, when you get to the place where you realize that you have to do what you have to do to get what you want, you almost always gravitate towards doing those things that you've heard them 1,000 times. So now I'm in a place where I heard Love Doors. I was like, I'm going to try doing this thing today. And so I did. Hey, by the way, Grandmothers, thank you for the response. Cameroon Douala. I'm to say I love Cameroon as if, what choice do I have? It's my country. I was born there. But yeah, so I watched the video, slept, actually barely slept because I couldn't sleep. Woke up this morning, took a shower, wore my new merch. By the way, this is new merch. If you didn't know, I actually have merch. But I thought about the whole idea of consuming content. Like I watch these videos. I watched a video this morning. I listen to podcasts. I read books. And I keep thinking about how much I'm not creating compared to how much I consume. Like the ratio of my personal consumption to creation is really skewed. I consume more content than I create. And as someone who calls himself a content creator, who is making, sharing ideas, writing articles, putting out things on the internet, it sort of doesn't make sense that I'll be consuming more content than I'm creating. And one of the few times where I felt like I found that balance of consumption and creation, 2 times. It happened twice. Like it happened on one video that I make on a channel, which was a tweet by a friend, Delight. I say a friend, we've actually never met, but a tweet that Delight Alomba put up on her Twitter account. And I thought it was a really cool tweet. Let me actually see if I can find, if you're interested, I can find it. Let me know if you want to find out what that was. I want to know whether you're actually watching or listening to this, or I'm talking to myself. But I saw the tweet and I was inspired by the tweet, and I made a video about the tweet. It was like a reaction video. Another time I watched a video by Corey, I think is his name. Forgotten the last name. But I watched that video and I felt inspired by the subject of the topic that was in the video. Subject of the topic? Subject of the video. And I also made another video. And then today, as I was listening to this podcast on insurance, it was like an hour and 14 minutes. I was taking down notes and realizing like, oh, I could actually write an article about this. I could make a video about this. I could share what I found out and summarize in a way this 1 hour 41-minute long podcast into 15 minutes or a 10-minute article or something on Medium, because I haven't written on Medium in a while. So that got me thinking about this dilemma. How much consumption is enough consumption to become inspiration versus procrastination? Like, what is that line between you're consuming all this content to get inspired to make content versus you're consuming all this content because you don't want to actually create? So I don't know if you have any solutions to this idea. If if what I'm talking about even makes sense, let me know in the comment section if any of this remotely resembles something that you go through, like difficulty between finding that balance between making things and just consuming them. I mean, why do we even have to have a conversation? I feel like it takes a lot of privilege to even get to a place where you feel like, all right, let me create or let me even consume, because to consume content on the internet, you need to be able to pay, internet access. To create content, you need to have the tools to create. Sometimes a smartphone, sometimes a camera, sometimes it's just internet access to make videos. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are and how you've been able to find a balance between creating and consumption. And that's what this live is, like finding that solution. Because for me, what I've been able to do is try to monitor how I feel about particular content that I consume. Like, does it trigger thoughts? Does it make me think about writing? Do I find myself taking notes? And is this something that's instinctive? Like, oh, I feel like taking notes because this thing is important, I want to remember it. Or do I actually go into the conversation wanting to take notes? One thing that I've been doing a lot more recently, and I try to do it more consciously, is highlight books that I read digitally, because I read a lot more on my Kindle than I read even physical books, which is out of convenience, I'm thinking of making a whole video on that idea of how much this has helped me read more. I realized that when I find sentences that resonate with me or that I want to read over and over, I just highlight. And the cool thing is that when you highlight those things, let me actually show you what that looks like. I haven't even tried to find out if it's correct, but let me see if I can find the thing that I've been trying to show myself. Because when I highlight these things in my books in the Kindle, which is relatively cheap, like compared to what you would think it's really really expensive, but it's not that expensive. So what is this? Blah 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 blah. Come to this 5 years ago. Install learning skills. What book is this? Oh yeah, reinvent yourself. Great. Let me just share this screen with you and show you what it looks like. I think it's part of the. I'm happy I'm doing this because I've always wanted to actually do this. We never really found a way to get it done. Yay! I have some answers here, some questions. Grey Matter says, I think a 90-10% most of the time is good for me, but when I accumulate a lot of knowledge, I'll have periods where I 100% 100% produce. That is interesting. Interesting because for me, I feel like mine is I think mine is similar, but I don't like that ratio for myself. I don't like that ratio, but it's interesting. 100% produce. I mean, if you think about it, you're either 100% consumer or producer. I mean, like overall, like the question I'm asking is that ratio is when you look at say, your lifespan as a creator, would you say you create more than you consume, or would you say you consume more than you create? Because when you say there are periods when you're 100% produce, of course, if you're creating, you aren't consuming. Like, I feel like it's a de facto you cannot create and consume at the same time, or can you? That's a good thing to think about. Anyway, hey, Constance is here. Ah, sister, Hafana. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm glad to have you here. We have 10 people watching, which is a lot, and I appreciate your time. So if you're enjoying this, first, let me know where you are watching from. I'm very interested in knowing that. Secondly, if you like this video, like it. If you're watching from YouTube, please share it. I would like to get more people watching it. And let me know if this conversation makes any sense to you. What are your thoughts on? So the topic of today's conversation is really about creation versus consumption. Is there a better way to do both? Not just as content creators. I'm talking mostly to people who create YouTube, right, and do all the thing. Because if it's not something that you do for a job or for a living, then you're probably like, hey, I go to work, I come back home, I watch a movie. Like, what the hell are you talking about content consumption versus creation? I'm like, who cares? So, but if you're a content creator, it's something that you probably had to deal with between finding that balance between input and output. So I'm curious to know your thoughts. Yeah. Let's see here. Lydia says, I definitely consume more than I create. How do you feel about that, Lydia? Is this something that are you consciously aware of it? Are you okay with it? Are you working towards reducing it? I would like to know your thoughts because the older I get, the older I get, the more I think about how there's almost no one size fit all solution for everybody. Like, the exceptions actually make the rule, but individually speaking, you have to adapt general advice to your specific context. So I'm not here to tell people to create more than you consume because people don't consume and all that stuff. I personally, for me, I know I have to create more than I consume because I see what I want to achieve. And I realize that if I don't create more than I consume, I'm not going to get there. So it's a very personal, individual decision. In the past, I will force people to create or suggest that they create, especially when I see that you have talent, like Grey Matters, which I think they should be creating more. But now is that balance between learning, inspiration, input, and then output and creation and putting out your work. So, yeah. Grey Matters says, I consume a lot more. Obviously, it makes sense because for me, inspiration has to come from somewhere. This idea about inspiration, we could probably do a whole other conversation about inspiration. Personally, I don't know about you, but I notice that I procrastinate by consuming and say, oh, I'm going to learn this new skill or watch this documentary or watch this movie so that I can get ideas on making this podcast or doing this live stream. For example, this is the second live stream I'm doing this week, and I've been thinking very, very seriously about trying to do daily live streams. First part of me is like, who wants to watch Kamga talk daily? Who cares? Like, it's just too much. People don't have internet, they don't have the time. What am I bringing to the table that is, so different that somebody would tune in here and speak daily? On the flip side of that is because I haven't done it, All what I'm talking about is just fear. It's procrastination, it's thoughts, it's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm afraid of what is going to happen. So I have decided, and the only way to decide is actually to show you. So I'm not even going to tell you what I've decided. You will just find out for yourself eventually what it's going to look like. So inspiration does have to come somewhere. I agree with you. It does have to come somewhere. The question is, when do you know that you're being, you're consuming for inspiration versus you're procrastinating? And I just mean that's a general question, not just you, Gray Matters. I mean, like, I feel like we sell ourselves short by trying hard to have the exact formula for what we want to create instead of running towards that quote unquote failure of, oh, I should have learned this and that, and then I'll do it in the next one. But that's just what I think. I feel like personally, I procrastinate a lot more than I should be creating. So yeah, it's really hard to verify our sources. That's a very, very ethical thing to do, especially in the world now where we have more people just putting out things and not even referring to who said what and finding out whether they actually speak the truth about what it is that they're speaking about. So I think that taking time to find your sources and clarify what your message is a good thing. I think it's a healthy thing to do. Personally, because of the kind of content that I make, I don't think I have to verify sources. If I'm going to quote somebody, I need to know who the person was. If I'm going to make an argument in a scientifically researched way, yes, I agree. So, yeah, I do think that there's a way to do it. And I do think that you're on the right path. Hey, Constance is watching from Chicago, Illinois. Of course, the reason I come here is because you always have amazing content. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And funny thing is, I don't often feel that way. Or I never used to feel that way until when I've been trying to really think about the way I think about myself and talk to myself. I don't know if that makes sense. Like meta. I'm thinking about how I put like this whole video, consumption versus creation. It's like I'm trying to make an argument for myself to create more by putting out valid points as to why I need to create and then taking action on that, because we can talk all day, but if the creation doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So Constance, thank you for being here. I'm glad you're watching this. I'm really, really excited to share more of the things that I find out and show up here on a regular basis. So thank you. I appreciate you being here. Lydia is not okay with it. So I guess we're on the same page. And as this live goes on, I'll be giving some ideas on how to actually sort that out, because I want to be more helpful to my community. I feel like I undersell myself about the things that I know, also about the people that I see who have really good ideas. For example, if you've watched any number of videos on this channel, you probably know that I love Gary Vaynerchuk's content. And the reason why I love his content is because I've had enough time to consume the content to understand where his content is coming from, such that if somebody watches this guy, if you watch a couple of his videos, you think that his guy's on drugs, he doesn't have a life, he is unrealistic, and it's easy to just, shoot him out like, yeah, that's just one of those other motivational speakers on the internet. I think what Gary Vee has taught me as I consume his content and as I watch and sometimes go back. Now I go back for just like, once in a while and see what he's doing. I no longer consume as much as I used to. But what I've learned from Gary Vee and many other people that I watch on the internet is how much is possible if you understand your personal motivation, like your own mindset and things that motivate you and how you get to do what you want to do. So if you're not okay with something, as silly as it sounds, you need to figure out why you are not okay with it. Actually, not even before you even go to why, it's like, are you truly not okay with it? So Gary Vee says something about procrastination. He says it's not that you're procrastinating or it's not that you're lazy. It's that you don't like to do the thing that you say that you think that you like to do. Because sometimes we think we want to do something, but we don't really want to do it. For example, say you have a job that you don't like. You might think that you don't like the job and that you should find a different job. But if you find out that you're never applying for new jobs, you actually go to your job and you sort of enjoy what you're doing. Maybe it's not that you don't like the job. You think you don't like it, but your actions and your behavior shows that you do. So when you say that you're not okay with it, what comes to my mind is the number of times when I've said to myself, I should be doing this thing. I don't like the way things are. I need to change this. And I don't change any of it. And I need to identify like, wait, what's going on here? Am I clear on what I don't want, or am I just pretending to myself? And you have to be honest with yourself at that point, because I realize that if I'm not at the root of the problem, if I'm not honest with myself about my current situation, about what I really want, and look at, are my actions matching my thoughts? Am I, doing the things that I said that I want to do? If I'm not able to look into that and speak directly, then there is something to learn there about my behavior. And that can lead me to actually make more substantial change than just hoping and wishing. So I don't feel like I have, yeah, I'll just hang that thought there for a bit and come back to it later on. Yes, I feel like someone has to consume content, right? I feel like someone has to consume content, right? So I consume in order to create. You see, this is the perfect, I don't use the word excuse, but it's the way I tell myself about the content I consume. Sometimes I have like 14 tabs open. I'm watching a video here, watching a tutorial here, reading an article. Like right now, for example, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this, okay, the last two is StreamYard itself, and then the Amazon account I just opened. But and then the YouTube video itself to see what I was working. So technically I have like 5 open tabs that I'm not using. Yes, it's true that we have to consume content to create. Or is it? Like, what did J.K. Rowling consume before creating Harry Potter? I mean, I know that's a terrible example, but I'm just curious. What did our grandparents consume before they created content? Because maybe we'll not consider advice and stories and all these things that we already enjoyed as content. But what isn't content? A conversation with a friend is content, right? I mean, say for example, you need to know what's happening in the news to maintain a conversation at a party. I don't know when people were doing parties anymore now in this COVID era. But I feel like if we don't consider the fact that life itself is content, for example, if you wake up in the morning and then you go for a walk and you look at the bird flying, and then you'll think about, wow, life is great. You kind of miracle. Like this creature that is different from you, yet has life and has kids. I mean, birds have baby birds, right? And, just lives itself. In an era where we have all these screens and we have all this content, I think it's easy to blur the lines between the fact that life itself is content and then that we don't need special content to consume in order to be reflective enough to still make meaningful additions to the existing bank of content. So, yeah, I think we do have to consume content to create. The question now is, what kind of content are we consuming? Are we reading books because we are running away from writing books? Are we watching videos because we don't want to watch video? We don't want to create videos? Are we watching the news because we feel that if we go to a party and talk about our own personal stories, like, are we consuming all these pieces of content because we think that they are valuable or because we are running away from just sitting with our own thoughts and thinking about our own lives and expressing our personal convictions to other people? So as much as I agree that we do have to consume content to create, I think we undermine how much content we already have in us from the time that we were born to this particular point. So we seek external sources of content as a way to procrastinate from actually just giving what we have and what we are learning, what we are creating as we document our journeys. So yeah. I think we do have to create, we do have to consume, but are we consciously consuming? That is the question. I wish I could create with a 20-80, so twice as much. 20-80 rule, right? 80% of what you consume is 20%. The Pareto principle, that 80% of what you consume, I think I've just confused myself. If you can explain that, great matters, I will appreciate. But the Pareto principle is about how, if you're, let's say you're a content creator, 80% of your audience will come from 20% of your content, which means that you might create 100 pieces of content, or let me say, just say 10 pieces of content, but only 2 out of those 10 will bring 80% of people who are interested. If you think about it, how do things go viral? Most videos that people create or that you see from content creators, a lot of the videos are not that epic, but you have a couple of videos that stand out that keep bringing recurring views and maybe even add money. In my case, for example, there are a couple of videos on my channel that are that have way more comments than the majority. So if you think about this principle, it means that the more you create, the more likely you are to find those things. And the less you create, the less likely you are to actually find that balance. So yeah, it'd be nice to create that much, honestly. It would be nice to create as much so you can find out what works and then hone in. What I've noticed, for example, you have one of the YouTubers that I enjoy. His name is Sylvanis. he does a lot of anime themed videos. And I think, let me just show you what his channel looks like. You probably haven't heard of him, and it'll be surprising that I actually like this kind of content, but I do. I really do. Sylvanus is he blew up on YouTube recently. Can't even speak English anymore. Let me show you what it looks like. Chrome tab. Voila. So cool. So this is Sylvanus. He's almost at 1 million. Yeah. I mean, look at that. I've watched nearly every video. You see this road red? Yeah, this is how much. This is when you. Funny thing about content consumption, when you want to catch yourself and see what you actually like, which can easily tell you what you should be making. See the kind of videos that you enjoy on the channel. I've watched nearly every video from this guy, well, except his Smash Planet Season 2. But one of the first videos that I ever saw, I can remember very clearly, it was if weed dealers anime. Let me see if I can find that video. I remember this particular video. This is the one. This video, I watched this video when this was 2 years ago. I think I've watched this video at least 1,000, well, not 1,000 times, but yeah, many times. But I loved it. I really enjoyed the video. I really liked what it was, the video that was in it. I started watching his videos and watching his content and just enjoying it. And before I realized it, I was hooked. And that was before he blew up. That was before he became as huge as he is right now. And funny enough, what was I talking about actually? Hello. I forgot to, let me just check the comments real quick before. Oh yeah, Lydia says, does that even make sense what I just typed? I think I responded to that. I'm not sure if I did. Let me know if I did. What I explained was, yeah, we have to consume to create, but maybe we're consuming by ignoring what we already have. That's what my thought was, that we already have a lot of stories in us, a lot of content that we already have existing in our bank of humanity, of just existing. And I feel like we don't give that enough credit. Yeah. So, yo, Kobe, brother, welcome. I know you're watching from Facebook. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. It's nice to have you. We had a chat. So Brian runs Topper Spaces where he talks and has conversations like, well, this is a one-way conversation with creatives, entrepreneurs, business people all across the continent. So you should check it out. You should definitely go check it out, see what he does. I was there on a couple of days ago. We actually had a live stream where we talked about writing and traveling and a bunch of things. Check it out. Constance, good day, host. I'm stepping out, sir. See you next. It was nice being here. Have a nice day. Thank you very much. Good to be here. Probably tomorrow again, or next Friday, definitely. So the Friday stream is really for me to interact with the community. So yeah, it's good to have you. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one. Lydia, okay. This is, you should come and stop frightening me here. This is the kind of content that I should not be consuming. What are you talking about? Sounds like a spell, like a magic spell or something. So anyway, the idea about Sylvanus and this whole content consumption creation thing is, I've seen people like Sylvanus, like this other lady whose videos I've been watching recently, Julie Nalki, where they do this thing where when one video pops off, like one particular video that popped for Sylvanus was the one called people who speak Japanese. Let me just show you. Like, I think, yeah, this is one worth showing you directly what that really looks like. So, people who speak Japanese. Oh, people who, yeah, you see, look at how it's even higher. People who think they speak Japanese. So, he literally made. No, don't play. Don't want this to play. No thanks. So he made this video, and this video popped off. What? He's done up to 7 parts. I don't think I watched part 5 and part 6. This video is a video that I think this video popped up his channel, actually made it blow up. And what did he do? He capitalized on it. He made a part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6, part 7. And yeah, Julie Noki did the same thing recently. She had a video where it was something about the pandemic, talking to my past self about the pandemic. The video popped off. She did a part two. I don't know if she's done a part three. But if you think about the 80-20 rule, you make 100 videos, 1,000 videos, right? Probably a bunch of articles. And one or two, I mean, out of 10, 20% of those articles, videos, content are those that will stand out and make things quote unquote better for you. Is those that people recognize you by. And the thing about the whole content consumption creation dilemma is if you don't create enough, you don't even find those 20%. So the less we create because we're trying to find the perfect article, the perfect idea, the perfect story. I mean, I'm talking to you, but I'm actually talking to myself because this is what I do. I try to find like, okay, no, this is the article that people actually want to read from me. What is the story that I can actually tell that is just me? The more we think about that kind of mentality of figuring out the right story, the right hook, the right idea, the less likely we are to fall on that 20% of our 80-20 rule. So for all the people who, want to consume more because we create, or who need to find that balance, or who want to know exactly what to do, I feel like the biggest thing I can say for people like us who are trying to find that perfection or know exactly the topic to be making is the less we create, the less likely we are to actually find the 20%. That's really it. Like the less we create, the less we try to just put out things. We're just reducing our chances of finding those stories that we were going to tell. Yeah. If there's any one lesson I need to take from today's live stream, that's really it. Like, if we don't create as much as you think you should be creating, then you're reducing your chances of finding your 20%. And what that means is that every time that I don't show up here to make a live stream, every time I don't post a video because I think the topic is not a good enough topic, every time that I minimize an idea, I'm reducing my chances of blowing up. So yeah, that's my theory. What is yours? What are your thoughts? Do you think that we should be creating more? Do you think that I'm right? Do you think that I'm wrong? Do you think that what I'm saying doesn't make any sense? Am I just blowing smoke in my own, stuff? Tell me. By the way, cold coffee is terrible. I'm just drinking this thing now because it's in this cup and I don't want to go and warm it because it's just too much work. Yeah. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know. What's this? I didn't even share this thing to you. Oh yeah. Hey, brother is in here. Thank you for coming. Oh, guys are listening. See, please. Sometimes I sit here and I'm talking to myself. If you've ever done a live stream, it's the weirdest thing. I don't know how people, I mean, I'm doing it, but if you think about it in a very logical human way, right? I'm sitting here alone talking to an inanimate object. And then I have to imagine that people are behind you. So thank you for the comments. It really makes me feel like, okay, we're having a conversation and I'm not stupid. So yeah, thanks. Oh, my brother Divine is here. Thierry Bujoko makes so much sense. Thank you so much. I think this is the first time you're commenting on any of my videos on a live stream anyway. So I feel like this is a good time to actually come live. So I'll be doing more early mornings like this because I know because of the time difference. It's actually 9:51 right now. I'll be ending the live stream in like 9 minutes. I want to just do an hour long because I don't think anybody has time to be sitting here for more than 1 hour. Who knows? Maybe when I get famous, I'll be extending it. And yeah, but yeah, thank you for being here. Emma, you should be making videos. I don't know if you started your channel, but I'm glad what I'm saying makes sense. There's too much work to warm coffee. Yes. I have to get up. I have to get up from this chair. I have to walk. Do you know how much energy it takes to walk? Less energy than this cup of coffee is going to give me. Oh, wait, more. My argument doesn't make any sense. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes I just do things because I weigh the cost benefit. It's like, okay, I'll warm the coffee. It'll be slightly better. And then what? Just drink it cold. I'm sipping hot fever grass. Wow, the life. Hot fever grass, lemongrass, and lemon. Hey. Okay. All right. Yeah. So those are my thoughts really on the creation consumption dilemma is yes, we have to consume content to create. We have to read books. We have to listen to podcasts. I have done it. You've done it. I mean, this is my notebook. I literally, before today's life, I was listening to this 1 hour, 41 minute video on this guy who is making six figures as an insurance agent and his story. And as he was talking, I was taking down quotes and I was really thinking like, oh, I'm going to be able to write an article on this. I can use this as, the subtopics, headlines. I was in that process of consuming content with the intention to create. So that's one part. Consume with the plan to create. Make a system that allows you to be able to, if you're watching a movie, right? At the end of the movie, take time to reflect on the movie. And this is particularly important if you're a content creator. Because I feel like it'll be too much pressure for people to just be getting up and you watch a movie and you have to sit there and have conversations with your spouse or your like, what did you think about the movie? What was the I don't know, the theme and the conflict and the rising action and the hero's journey? I feel like that's a lot of work for people who are not doing this for work. But if you are in the business of your internet, well, it's part of your job to be able to create content. So knowing those things helps. So that's the first part. Consume with intention. The second part is really too. The second part is really remember that you don't have to consume. Let me rephrase that. You already have a lot of experience, whether it's your own story, things that you're learning, things that you're taking for granted because you think that everybody knows these things, but not everybody does. So don't undermine your own experience. That's the second part of content consumption. I feel like we undermine our experiences by trying to read all these books and watch all these videos when we could have created more from what we already have. So those are the two things. Hey, I have a question. If you have any questions, please drop them. I would love to discuss about this with you. So drop it, please. I want to hear more from you. Extra Philip Comedy says, I got a question. Do you think as far as content creation is concerned, would you go for quality or quantity? This is like the age-old question, the age-old dilemma about consumption versus creation and quality versus quantity. I have some glib answers that I can give based on what other people have said. In fact, the biggest one that comes to my mind immediately is quantity leads to quality. And I'm looking at this from the question of, there's another question that people have asked about on videos. And I'll tie this to the answer to this question is, should you make long videos? Like how long should a video be on YouTube? Or how long should a video be anywhere? And I think it's Sean Connell of Think Media who often says, make it as short as it needs to be, but as long as it has to be. Something like that about let it be long enough to say what you have to say, but short enough that you don't have anything extra. So, I mean, if you translate that, it means it depends, basically. So, would you go for quality or quantity? Personally, when I'm consuming content, I would rather have quality content than quantity content. Like if I'm consuming as a consumer, of course you want the best. You want somebody to kind of figure out their life story, learn all these things and make you the best possible version of the quality that you could have. But as a creator, what I've found out is that for me to get to that point where I can actually have good quality, whether it's in storytelling, editing, visuals, lighting, all that stuff, you need to create a lot and learn a lot because nobody comes out of the bat and just knows how to do things. So the more you make, the more opportunities you have to learn that leads to that good quality. So I guess you have to look at the question becoming of, as a consumer, would you want to consume a lot of quantity and figure it out? No, of course not. You don't want to sit there and be watching people's videos as they're figuring out their YouTube life. But as the YouTube creator, as a writer, the more you write, the more you create, the more opportunities you get to improve your craft, which eventually leads to good quality. It's like Stephen King right now. I don't think he can put up a novel that sucks. But to get to this particular point, he had to write a lot. He had to make a lot of things to get to that level. So I don't think there's a straightforward answer to this, except that quantity leads to quality. So, yeah. Does that make any sense? Yo, Thierry says, but I still believe you need to keep an eye on what works. The courts come usually from the fact that you're trying to innovate, and that is freaking scary. Yeah. Innovation is a thing that I feel like we get old. We grow up to find out that sometimes I don't know how to explain this. You do things and you try things and then you discover that it's not that easy to make things different. to make new things. Like not everybody can get up and be like, oh, let me try this new idea, because you see what everybody has done. You see what people put up. One second, let me close this door. I feel like so. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, let me read. You need to keep an eye on what works. Trying to innovate and it's freaking scary. Yes, yes. It's scary to try new things. I think when we get comfortable, especially when we get comfortable, even in things that don't work. For example, live streaming is something that I have the tools to do. I have internet access. I can schedule my time. But now, how do I keep people's attention while I'm saying what I'm saying? Live streaming is very hard. What's one thing that I'm doing it right now and I feel like I'm sort of okay with it, but I'm always feeling like, what do I have to say that is different? What am I saying that is new? How can I actually keep people's attention? Like, how do I communicate better with camera in real time? Like, this is not a thing where I'm recording and I can edit and I can cut things and I can put B-roll. It's happening in real time. So I need to be able to watch other people who are doing live streaming and see, oh, what are they doing well? How are they making it work? How are they keeping the audience, listening? And what can I do? How can I improve my camera, audio, whatever? Like, what can I do that can keep people watching and also make them come back? Because if I show up every day and I say basically the same thing, you'll be like, Kamga again. He has come here to talk about the same thing that he talked about last week. What's the point? So you're right. I have to innovate, which means that I have to come and talk about things that I may not be comfortable with yet because I don't know or haven't done my research or I'm still figuring it out. So it's 100% scary to try new things. But over and over, whether it's in books, whether it's in podcasts, whether it's in real life, everything that happens after you try something scary is almost always a point of growth. Whether it's talking to the girl, whether it's applying for a job, whether it's getting a new skill. When I started editing, when I watch my first video on YouTube, I don't like it at all because my jump cuts were. I still do jump cuts now. Like if you edit, you know what jump cuts are. I'm not going to explain it because that'll just be too much information that you don't need. But when I started doing this thing, I was afraid, and I still feel like I don't know anything. Like this is 2 years ago. I still feel like I'm still basically learning how to edit and make videos and speak and talk and all that good stuff. But without going through that phase of being afraid that my work would not be nice and accepting that I don't know how to do this thing, I would never have gotten to this point now. And so when I look now and I look at the future, it's like if I don't try new things, if I don't not jumping headfirst into the pain and be excited about the failure. Like, the thing about failure, Divine, sorry, I'm laughing. So this man who is listening right now, he made a video where he made a parody of me. And as I was speaking right now, I just realized that I was doing the exact thing that he was talking about in the video, which is leave from one idea and go to another idea and come to something else and then say something. So, the thing about like that particular phrase that I said that the phrase that's exactly what he said in the video. So, but what I was trying to say is, what was I trying to say? What's what I was trying to say? Anyway, oh man, yeah, quality, quantity. I forgot what I was talking about, but let me just go to the next comment. I still believe you need to keep an eye on what works. Okay, yeah, that's what you were talking about, how innovation is scary. Yeah, I agree. Innovation is hard, but it's the only way forward. I think that's really it. Okay, so I watch a YouTube, I watch a YouTuber and he said something I really felt connected. He said, don't limit yourself, as in don't think this content or ideas are not good enough, because the more you think that way, you limit yourself. Dude, see, I'm in this space nearly all the time. I have to work on my mindset and get some thoughts out of my mind. I feel like I have put myself in this box of thoughts and things that, okay, no, this is Kamga, this is what Kamga does, this is who Kamga is. Where when the time comes for me to grow and become someone else, I almost refuse. I'm like, no, this is not me. This is not, I'm not this person. So Thierry was saying, innovation is scary because what you know is comfortable. However, everything that you want is just, is beyond comfortable. I've hardly come across anybody who's been successful in life. I mean, when I say come across, I mean like books, podcasts, who wasn't willing to do the uncomfortable things. So it almost always correlates that if you start enjoying discomfort, enjoying that worry, and leading into that space of, okay, this is scary. I don't know where this is going to lead, but I feel like I need to do this. The more you lean towards that discomfort, the more likely you are to actually succeed. So the more you lean towards ideas that are scary, like I want to do sketches. I've been afraid to do sketches on YouTube. I'm thinking of doing sketches. The people that I watch, like Sivanis and Lena Young and Julie Norky, the videos that I actually, sit by myself and I enjoy just for the sake of enjoyment. I sketch. I feel like I could pull this off. I could actually do this. Now I'm like, oh, I don't know how to write scripts. I don't know how to, I'm not funny. I don't have any humor. And I'm not saying this so you can tell me in the comment section, like, hey, but you're funny, we like you. No, it's not that I need pity. This is my self-conversation that I understand that I am comfortable with where I'm at. And for me to be able to do the things that I feel like I'm interested in doing, I need to get out of that mold. And so, yeah, that's a pretty good advice. So the more, don't limit yourself, as in, don't think of content ideas that are not good enough, because the more you think that way, you limit yourself 100%. We limit ourselves with our thoughts, with our actions, with the way we behave. And yeah, yep. Monsieur Christian Cedric Bou says there, you put a finger on it. I did, didn't I? I feel like the more I have these conversations, the more I'm able to even wrap my own ideas. Here's the cool thing about bouncing ideas with people that I've realized, especially people who are in your area, not just anybody on the internet, because sometimes you can getting feedback is a skill. So sometimes you can meet somebody and talk about something and then tell you something that actually doesn't help you. So I'm getting more and more strict with the kind of people whose feedback I get. Because sometimes if somebody doesn't know what you're trying to do, especially if you don't know what you're trying to do, then you can actually get terrible feedback that will discourage you. So I highly recommend knowing who you're getting feedback from, because it's a very slippery slope from getting feedback from people who are not in the same space as you, who don't understand what you're trying to do, and who tell you things that don't make sense. In fact, things that may actually discourage you. So yeah. Yep. He was laughing at the video. You really, I don't know if you can find that video and put it in here, but the parody he did was for different Cameroonian YouTubers about the way they make videos. And yeah, I thought it was pretty funny and quite on point. Yep. Jerry says, I like your answer. You're a genius. Thank you for the compliment. I don't feel that way, honestly. I feel like I have so much to learn all the time. And I'm not saying that out of humble bragging. I literally woke up this morning and thought about all the things I haven't done, all the things I need to improve. And I had to take steps to making this cup of coffee so I don't fall asleep, coming here and pressing the live button and trying to figure things out. So I appreciate that. And I think we all are geniuses in a way, and we all have things to learn. So the more we put ourselves out there, the better. So yeah, thank you. Christian Cedric says, in my opinion, it's useful to save drafts. What I do when consuming any content, I tend to take notes, start a draft, save it for later, because we don't know Cameroonian context, Yeah. Yes, I think for some reason my Evernote, I don't know if anybody else is using Evernote. Evernote stopped working on my computer. I'm forced to use like the web version. The desktop version doesn't work, which is annoying because on my other computer it works, but this one it doesn't work. So it's changed my workflow. But I have Evernote everywhere. I use Evernote on my phone, computer. I like Evernote because Evernote, once you set things up, just copy and put things. I have a notebook that I write in almost all the time. I have notebooks, probably too many notebooks than I should have. And that is something I need to work on, because I need to get organized. I need to organize my content and my notes. But yeah, saving drafts. I actually even heard something. Somebody said something, I don't know whether I read it or I heard it, about even saving the lines that you delete. Like, even when you write and you edit, don't delete lines, just copy them and like cut them and put them somewhere. You never know when you're going to need them. So yeah, I think it's a good idea to have drafts. Yep. Why do I keep saying yep? I need to make a video saying a t-shirt saying yep. I made this one, oh wow, because I noticed that, oh, by the way, this is a totally random thing. I play video games on Twitch with my friends, my friend Mark. We have a Discord something that you may not know. I actually enjoy playing video games, and I never knew that I enjoyed playing video games until Mark helped me build my computer and then introduced me to some games. So I've become like this. I've gone back to my old days of playing games. I used to play a lot with my brother when we were younger. PlayStation 1 to that's actually all my parents bought because they don't have to buy the games ourselves. So play with my brother theory. So I play games on Twitch, and if you don't know what Twitch is, I'm going to put the link here. I'm going to put my link. If you can follow me there, I'll really appreciate it. Twitch is I have 30 followers now. I need to get 20 more followers to be able to get affiliated, which means I'll be able to start making money on it. And I would really want to do that. So I'm putting the link now here. If you are interested, please go there, follow me. And whenever I'm playing games, and so the reason why I made it to share is because whenever I lose, I play a lot of Rogue Company. Rogue Company is this third-person shooter PvP, like players versus player, 4-man team. So tomorrow we'll be doing a multi-stream. So Mark, Nodita, Hydroside, and myself, we'll be playing Monopoly, Uno, and a bunch of other games, probably including Rogue Company. So join us. I think we started around 2 p.m. my time, which might be late or not, but it's going to be live. So you can watch it, and you can always watch the stream later on. So go there, follow me. Appreciate you for doing that, and looking forward to it. Christian, yeah, you have a lot of ideas. You can structure it all. I agree, especially if you have a system that works. There's this course that I took from Thomas Frank. He's a YouTuber. He does a lot about studying and taking notes and all that, educational stuff. And I watched his course, and I really went to apply the things. And what I did is I took my Evernote. I really built into a system that allows me to organize myself, because the more organized you are, the more you can create. 100%. If you have ideas, like what Christian says, you have ideas and you can structure them, you can actually create more content, because you don't have to be thinking, oh, what do I write today? In fact, a lot of people who give advice on the kind of content that you want to create say that you should have draft folders, because what happens is some days you will not be inspired. Some days you will not have ideas, and you'll be like, oh, what do I do today? I don't know. I need to find new ideas. And you can easily slip into let me watch videos so that I can get ideas. But if you're constantly collecting your drafts, then when you show up in the morning to write, or you want to make a video, you pull up your draft folder and you find any idea that speaks to you at that particular time and get it. People misunderstand the idea of inspiration. Sometimes you can have a lot of inspiration on, say, Monday. And what you do then is to just put down the ideas and put them down in a draft folder somewhere. Because by Tuesday, you might get up and you have no ideas. So what do? Go to your draft folder, pull up one, and there you have your story for that day. So yeah, I 100% agree that if you have many ideas, you collect in the draft folder and put things up. So yeah, yes, pause the video. I think I thought it was funny. So I don't know what people are going to say, but yeah, I love the impression that he did of me. It's both humbling and a huge compliment to see that somebody is watching and observing your mannerisms enough to even do something like that. So yeah, you should share it. You can make quality. Oh yeah, he said, and then you can have a lot of ideas. You can structure it all, so you can make a quality content at the quantity that you want. Yes, it goes back to that quantity dilemma, right? When you have a lot of ideas and you can put it all in one place, it means whenever you want to create, you have quality ideas to pull from. So you can have 200 ideas, but out of those 200 ideas, we go back to the 80-20 rule, about 20 of them are going to be really good. And those 20 ideas can be what makes or breaks your career. So yeah, the more ideas you have, the better. Oh yeah, he said, I didn't see this comment. If you're around me, we could pull tons of skits with you. Everyone is comical. As for you, I feel like I could write the script on giving you tequila. What would that look like? I mean, I still have to get a green screen. I feel like if I had a green screen, we'd be able to try a couple of things out. Right now, I actually changed my setup. If you've been watching my live, I used to do it a little bit closer to that end. But I changed my setup, and I think now I can put something. I can put like a green screen here and try things out. So yeah. Quality is also what your target audience watches again and again. Not only in the magic the YouTuber needs to do. Sometimes the worst video goes viral. Right? That's the thing. That's the thing about I watched a video yesterday. I'm doing that thing again, Divine. I cannot. This is a sad thing. It's a good thing about when you notice something that you do, a certain behavior. I really tend to live from idea to idea, and it frustrates people. Like my wife hates it. It frustrates people to the way I think, the way I see the world. There's hardly like a linear correlation between my thoughts. So it's often like I think of this, and it reminds me of that, and I think of this, and I bounce around like this, and then before I end up to the point where, oh yeah, this is what I was trying to say. So like right now, when you talk about sometimes the worst video goes viral, it reminded me of the video that I watched yesterday by Seth Godin on this channel called Behind the Brand. And one thing that he said a bunch of things, but one thing that he said about this voice video going viral is sometimes you make videos that you personally don't like, in terms of videos that don't speak to you, because those videos pay the bill. And not just videos, like content, business, you call them, or cash cows. You will make the things that the content that the community wants, so that you can then make the things that you want. So the idea of a words video is completely relative to what you think. Because, and the example that the person gave was the movie Fast and Furious. So this person that was interviewing Seth Godin used to work at Universal Studios, and said, he'd left about a year after they made Fast and Furious. And they made, I mean, if you've watched Fast and Furious, they made like 5 different, probably 6, Fast and Furious 1, 2, 3, Tokyo Drift. Like there's probably like 7 or I don't know, 9 different Fast and Furiouses. Is that even a word? Fast and Furiouses? Fast and Furious movies. Let me just escape that weird grammatical injecture. But when you talk about the worst movie going viral, it's like, okay, Fast and Furious was a great movie and people liked it. And it was the first movie of its kind. You cannot say it was the worst movie, but if you look at many other movies, it's now, I mean, then it was an innovation, but right now it's like, everybody knows what's going to happen. There's going to be a car, someone's going to be in prison, they're going to break somebody out, and they get to have car chases and some fights. Like, it's the same principle. Essentially, that video idea has been made, and they've made it 7, 8, 9 times. So it's gone, quote unquote, viral because people like it. Now, does it mean that the people who made those videos, that's the only videos that they want to make? Probably not. I feel like they make these movies, and what Seth Godin was saying, that you make these videos that work for the community, that sell, the cash cow, so that you can then make the videos that you want. And I think that sometimes when you come to creating, whether it's in business, whether it's even on YouTube, you will have to make videos that you know that the community wants, but that is not what you want. But making those videos allow you to make the videos that you want. So it's finding that balance between doing the things that everybody wants that pay the bill, and doing the thing that you want that you know is not going to pay the bill. And I think that's finding that balance that helps creators. Like, yeah, I think it's actually a pretty good note to even ending this live, because it gets me to think about how sometimes we are so stuck in our minds of what we should be creating, what we should be making, that we forget that it's not just about us. You might have this idea for a movie that is really, you like the movie, you enjoy it, this article that you want to write that you would love to read. They say, well, write the book that you wish you had but doesn't exist. Yeah, that's a great idea in theory. But in reality, you need to be able to pay your bills. You need to be able to sustain the life that allows you to do the things that you want to do, which almost goes back to why people say don't make your passion your profession. Don't try to make money from your writing, things like that. Because sometimes if you focus so much on the money, the whole inspiration idea part of it gets lost. So I think we need to find that balance between making the things that we want to make. Actually, there are 3 things: making the things that we want to make, things that we enjoy making the things that the world needs, and also making the things that only us can make. Because in the end, we are all individuals. We all have our own stories. We all have, our personal goals and missions on earth to do. Like, you might actually be here to just make one particular video to help one particular person and change the course of, I don't know, humanity. That's a lot of pressure, I know. But I think that we ignore the power of just doing the things that we can do. And so when we spend so much time consuming, trying to make the perfect video, we don't make the video that we could have made that was just me taking my phone and doing this, and then that was it. So yeah, I think those are my thoughts on that. And if you do have any questions, leave them now so I can bounce ideas with you. I'm going to wait for a couple of minutes. If I don't get any questions or any feedback, yes, 100. Thank you for bringing that up. Actually, while I was talking, I was like, this reminds me of something that I know, but I don't know where exactly that is. Ikigai. 100%. For those who don't know what ikigai is, Terry, we should hook up and talk about these things. I feel like we'll have a lot of cool conversations to talk about, bounce ideas, and probably discover a lot more things that we have in common. Ikigai is finding that balance. Let me find that image. I think it's better off to show you exactly what this is because it's just so powerful. I didn't make it up. Diagram. Let me see. No, 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 no. Yes, found it. Found it here. Yes. 100%. Your reason for being, as they say in French, raison d'être. Does it actually translate as the same? I feel like raison d'être is reason for being. It's not exactly translation. It's literally what that means. So let me show you the screen that I just found. All right. So this is Ikigai. Oh no, it's not. It's not pulling up the image that I want. It's showing me a different screen. I'm going to just show you. Let me change that here real quick. Technology is such an interesting thing sometimes. So let me change. Stop sharing screen. I don't need your newsletter. All right, leave me alone. All right, cool. So this is Ikigai. This is what Thierry was talking about, and I think also what Kamel Abbas Foson just meant by that, just finding that space. So just a little, so it's a Japanese, clearly, concept about finding that intersection. True meaning of Ikigai, definitions, diagram, myth about Japanese life purpose. So you have 1, 2, what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, this is not a good enough diagram. I think there's another diagram I can find that. There's something about diagram ways. All right, so you have what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. This is interesting. I always thought it was 3 circles. I don't know why. I always just thought it was 3, not 4, because this one is different. Oh, interesting. I like this. This is like my brain is registering new information in real time. Like I never knew this was like this. This is like real time knowledge. As I'm literally learning about this now. So it's my brain is rewriting. For some reason, I always thought that it was 3 circles. It was, what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs. I never thought about this, what you can be paid for part. But anyway, Ikigai is finding the intersection between these 4 things. Why? If you find what you love and you find what you're good at and what the world needs, but you cannot be paid for it, then you are where? Somewhere around, let me see, what you love, what you're good at, what you can be. This diagram is not doing this idea service. But essentially, you can love something, you can be good at it, the world might need it, but you cannot be paid for it. For example, let's see. What examples can I come up with? I cannot come up with any example. Right? I cannot even think of it. Let's say you're a speaker. You love speaking, you're good at speaking, the world needs you to speak, but you cannot be paid for speaking. I've just run out of examples. This fourth circle has just thrown me off my thoughts. This is how we'll figure this out eventually. Anyway, so people talk about doing what you love. There's this Steve Jobs quote that has been twisted, where he said essentially, love what you do. That's what Steve Jobs said. The 2011 speech, Stanford commencement speech, love what you do, but it's been changed to do what you love, which is, I feel like it's very misleading. Very similar, but if you have to do what you love, for example, I love to tell stories, I love to write. I can spend my whole life frustrating myself about trying to make this a living instead of loving what I already do, which is, what am I even doing now? I'm still trying to tell stories. Point I'm trying to make is, it's easier to do what you love. No, to love what you do. You can actually, perspective, goals, a mindset, you can find a way to love what you do. The reverse of what doing what you love is that you can love to do something, but you may not end up doing it for a living. It may not pay your bills. Circumstances, skills, ikigai, like you may love what you do, but the world doesn't need it. Like you may like to, I don't know, draw stick figures, and you may actually be good at drawing stick figures. You can be paid to draw stick figures, but the world doesn't need it. So what happens? Feel like you feel very disappointed. You will not feel fulfilled enough in life to be like doing something that the world needs. I think there's an aspect of music. Ooh, music is a good example. I say music because Thierry did say music here. Hey, Delight, it's good to see you. Good to see you here. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for showing up. What's happening to my mouth? Thank you for showing up. Music. Let's take music for example. You might be good at music. You might love music. You can be paid to play music. Oh, now that's an example. The world might need your music, but you cannot be paid for it. Like you can have this soothing sound that people just sit and, oh my God, you're so talented, it's so great. But nobody will pay for your concert. Either maybe you cannot, have a concert. Maybe you're in a country that doesn't let that happen. The point of ikigai, of a life purpose, of getting direction in like life, is that you need to find the intersection between these four things. The reason why you need to find something that you can be paid for is because you have bills to pay. We just can't avoid it in this world right now. If you live somewhere and you're an adult and you have to pay bills, it's inevitable. Somebody has to pay for it. Either you do or your parents, or I don't know, you have to find a way to get it done. Some societies, some communities are better equipped to do this where, for example, in America, where some people get, I think, unemployment benefits where if you don't have a job, I think the government can support you somehow. I don't even know how it works, but it's possible. In Cameroon, if you don't have a job, you're screwed basically. What you love, this is the part that I think a lot of us miss, which is the world might need something. You can be paid to do it. You can be good at it, but you don't love it. Which means that every day that you wake up and go to work, there's part of you that is just dying. Because it's easy to think, oh, I want to do what I'm passionate about this thing. But what if you actually are good at something? You're really good at it. You're paid for it. The world needs it. The first example that comes to my mind is like, I don't know, stockbrokers, or maybe you're a banker. You're an accountant. You're very good at numbers. The world needs accountants to handle businesses. You're paid for it. A very good job, but you hate it. I don't know. I feel like many people live in that particular space where they do what they have to do because that's just what it is. And I feel like people who are able to even get above that and find something that they love. And I think one thing to remember, one thing that I want to remind myself and to remind anybody listening is, I wonder if the idea of ikigai is not so much about finding that intersection, but finding things in your life that feed those aspects, right? I don't think it's about finding the job that gives you all these things. It's more about finding things in the world that you can feed from. Like you may have a job that you're good at, you paid for, the world needs, but then your hobby is what you love. For example, you might love to play the piano. I don't think you have to find a way to get paid for it. I don't think you have to find a way to make money out of everything. It would be nice, but I think we get hooked up trying to get paid for all the things that we are sort of talented in, and that's the big problem that I've personally had, because this whole writing, storytelling thing is like, oh, I need to make money as a writer. I need to make money as a writer. I need to, but the things that I write, the world doesn't need it. Like objectively speaking, so certain things that I've written, I'm like, nobody cares about this. Why am I doing this? Let me see what Thierry says here. You need to find a balance where you enjoy doing what you do and also be careful enough to make the audience find a need to pay to come to your concert. Yes, that's for music, right? For music, you need to be able to do that. Yeah. That's why Ikigai is so important, knowing that intersection between, yeah. And one thing that I've been thinking about a lot more is the idea of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where the fact that we're able to watch and talk and have this conversation means that we have a couple of our needs already met, like safety, shelter, feeding, that things that we've already leveled up, that we don't even realize the privilege of being able to do those things, because I'm sitting here talking about find your ikigai, do what you love, find these things, but there are people who cannot even afford a meal who have to figure out a way to pay their bills. So this conversation for them is like, what are you talking about? I need to have a house. Like, I need to make sure that I'm not sleeping on the street today. Like, what are you talking about, ikigai? What is ikigai? So I guess we're on different paths on this journey, and recognizing that and also recognizing our privilege allows us to put things in perspective. Because when you realize that, you know, yeah, when you realize that you have certain things that are working for you that may not be working for other people, you find that personal balance. Yeah. Best example is an entrepreneur. I feel like everybody's an entrepreneur. They just don't know it yet. Because even when you're doing your job, you are basically selling a product, you and your time, to whoever is paying for it. That's just my thoughts. I guess I'll have to develop that theory a little bit more. But yeah, if you're building a business, it becomes even more clear that you need to find something that you love, something that you're good at, something that the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Yeah. Actually, when I think about that, you're very correct. If you're making a product, you're making a service, you're building an app, you might like to program the app. You might be good at programming a very good app. Does the world need it? Can you be paid for it? If you can answer those two questions, you have your ikigai. That's why you see people who are able to wake up early, work very long hours, basically dedicate their lives to a mission because they found something that they love. They're good at it. So you get that feedback of improvement, of, positive feedback from building things. The world needs it because you see the difference that you're making in the world and you're paid for it. Like when I think of someone like Sir Richard Branson, I feel like he's the perfect example of somebody who is having fun, very good, makes a lot of money, and solves world problems. So yeah, sounds perfect. Dr. JBTV is here. Welcome, brother. Good to see you in the channel. It's been a while. How you doing, man? I know. Congratulations again. You are. Yeah, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Congratulations, bro. But yeah, we're coming close to the end of this. Thierry says, I love the fact that Ikigai is not fixed, so you might spend your life finding that life purpose. That's a pretty good note to wind down this conversation, because last time that we had a live, I remember my friend Leonel was talking about finding your life purpose, finding the thing that you want to do. Like, what if it's one thing that you have to do and then you don't know what it is? If I don't remember correctly, that was, the idea was about passion and all that stuff. And I've, in my own relatively short, I've had a lot of people asking me, like, how do you know that this is the thing that you want to do? How did you discover writing and storytelling? I don't even know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I've come to terms with realizing that maybe the whole point of life is to just figure things out and try things and experiment, and just that's it. Like, there is no single life purpose that this is the thing that you have to do. The thing that you have to do is to stay alive and figure out a way to keep trying things. Yeah. As simplistic and as boring as it sounds, the way I'm seeing now is that there are many things to do, many things to try, very little time. So what do? Try as much as you can, learn as fast as you can, move on. Move on from feeling bad, from failure, from feeling like, disappointment. Just move on. Sun will rise tomorrow. Yeah. Glad we could hang out today. I was expecting to end like a couple of hours earlier, almost going to 1 hour 30 minutes. Really grateful for your feedback, Thierry. Thank you for hanging out and sharing this, bringing back Ikigai to my mind. It's something that it's always just at the back of my mind, trying to find that place. And I'm discovering today there was like 4 circles. I had no idea there were 4 circles. So it's good to have that. Delight, you're still here. I don't know if you are, if you enjoyed the conversation, if you met it in the middle. Yeah. So let's get it. Let's keep doing it. Let me go back to the beginning. And if you have any last words, any last comments, looking forward to sharing that. Lydia was here earlier. Christian Cedric too was here. He left. Thank you for showing up. Gray Matters disappeared after. Did I drive you, bro? Probably not. Masuma Boris Karlov, thank you for the feedback on the video. It's always good to know that I'm being the best that I can be on this. Constance was here and she left earlier. We had Mr. Brand of Topper Spaces who showed up as well. Body Divine. He hasn't had the link of the thing is not here, so I don't know why. What happened? What happened, bro? What happened? But yeah, Emma, start that channel, bro. We need your videos. We need your skills. We need your storytelling. Mr. Thierry came in. I feel like you're the MVP for today's video conversation that we had. I liked it. I'd love to have like a real life chat. I feel like there's a lot we could talk about. And yeah, Cornell, thank you. Delight came and disappeared. Thierry says, feel good after this right talk conversation. Thank you, man. Me too. I feel like this is what 10:30. I have to cook and figure things out, and I have another meeting later in the evening, and I feel like this conversation can help somebody. And I'll be back. I'll be back same time tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow Saturday. Same time tomorrow. I'm probably the day after tomorrow. So, what would you like us to talk about? This is a random question for anybody who's watching now to get ideas. What did you enjoy about this conversation? What would you like? Like, do you have any questions that you would like me to bring ideas? Not even address or answer. I don't feel like I have the answers, but I'd like to talk more about the things that you're interested in. So, what are your questions, concerns, comments, things that you have been bouncing about that you would like to have a different perspective on? Just drop it here. And for those who may have forgotten, I do have a Twitch channel. I play during the weekends and usually after work because that's like the only thing I can do is to play in the evening. But yeah, go on there, follow my Twitch. I do I play video games, which help me. And the cool thing that I like about the video games that I play is that I play with friends. I find it difficult to play by myself. It's just, I guess I'm using the excuse of community to play with other people. So if you like video games, if you would like to see a different side of me, which is not as serious as this, I guess, go to Twitch, follow me there. Uh, when I go live, you might need to sign up with what I'll say. Don't use your real name because everybody was cool enough to find like a cool gamer name. I went with my name. I don't know. So if you have a nickname, something that you like that you want to stay anonymous, I would recommend you use that. And yeah. Oh, also random fact. My birthday is coming up on Monday. I removed it from Facebook because for some reason this year I don't want to have. We'll probably do a live on this, but the idea that Facebook reminds people of my birthday feels insulting to me now. It used to be a cool thing. I'll watch people be like, "Oh yeah, it's your birthday today," and I saw it on Facebook, but I took off mine because I don't know why yet. I just feel like I didn't have to put it there. Like, I need to really sit and just enjoy my birthday with those who know. So if you're watching this live, you're one of the people that should know about my birthday. If you want to, wish me anything or just hang out. But it's Monday, and I'll surely do a live stream on that day, just because. So yeah, any questions, any comments? Are you just joining in? Do you have a thing you want to talk about? Cornell says this is some deep conversation. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm trying to go deeper in my own mind and use these reflections to take action in the real world because it's easy to get lost in these thoughts of ideas and theory and things and never really talk about, I guess, real life. I don't know. But yeah. So there's been enough ranting from this end. Really happy for this. Honestly, I don't want to end this live, but I feel like I'm just wasting your time at this point because I'm not adding anybody. So tomorrow is another day. The sun will still rise. We'll still drink more cold coffee and we'll have more chats. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much for the comments. And I will see you in the next live.